Alright, so, howdy people. The Wicked Part 1 movie came out recently. And, of course, Clownfish TV made a video on it. Let's get into this. I used to be a fan of these people back when I was slightly slipping down the alt-right pipeline. That's for a different video. Probably won't get made. Actually. But still. Clownfish TV. Let's get into it.
Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about Wicked. We're not going to talk about the dolls having the porno links.
However, the dolls are selling for a lot of money now because people like the movie and you can't buy the dolls.
Yeah. We're going to talk about that because the movie made a lot of money. Now, we said it probably would make a lot of money. I didn't know if it was going to make
I don't know if it'll make $1 billion.
They were claiming it was going to make $1 billion. I don't know about that.
It probably will, because there is a lot of theater people. I don't like their avatars. They look... I don't... They look dumb.
But I knew it was going to do well because it's like the play was really popular. And even with the controversy leading up to it, I don't know if normies knew about all the online drama and all that stuff. They're just like, oh, look, Wicked musical. That was a big thing back in the day. And this doesn't look as bad as Cats. So anyway, so it's making money. But we're going to talk about a trigger warning.
Cats was great, by the way. Actually, Cats was great.
Warning put on it in the UK because...
Alright, so I just tried to look for this exact article. I can't find it. Granted, Google sucks right now, so maybe I didn't look hard enough. I don't know. But I tried to find this exact article to find their sources. Actually, wait. Do they have it in the description? Nope. They have not cited their sources. Okay, let's get back into it.
Apparently, the whole green skin thing is a euphemism for racism, or it is racism in Oz. And we don't want people to be triggered because I know all the green skinned people out there are going to be very offended by this movie. So we'll talk about that before you get into anything.
He just said it's a euphemism. It's meant to represent something. And then he talks about like actual green. Alright. This is dumb. Okay, let's... He knows there are no actual green people. He knows. He's just fucking...
Any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys.
Or, and hear me out, instead, you could do that for me. Like, comment, subscribe. Comment... Pufferfish. I don't know. Fish themed, I guess.
You get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
Check out Clownfish Mine.
Okay, let's just... Okay, there we are.
Also mirrored on locals.com, clownfishtv.locals.com. So thank you so much for the support.
For green-skinned people and persecuted talking animals.
Yes, I thought this was a joke. This isn't a...
People and persecuted
I'm Wicked in the UK.
For green-skinned people...
A trigger warning. .com. So thank you so much for the support. So yeah, they have a trigger warning on Wicked in the UK.
For green-skinned people and persecuted talking animals.
Yes. I thought this was a joke.
They have it for the people that it represents. The people who are actually marginalized. They are not actually targeting talking animals and green-skinned people with that trigger warning. It is for people who have experienced actual racism.
Joke. This isn't a joke. A trigger warning about Wicked has people in a tornado-like rage. This is coming from TMZ, with many decrying the warning about discrimination against people with green.
TMZ. Here we are. Media bias and fact-checking. Oh, okay. So, TMZ is a marginally center-right bias. How much? Oh, mixed factual. Factual reporting. Mixed. Great. So, they're just. They aren't. There's a chance that this is a lie. I'm going to treat it like it's not. But this is a center-right article that they are going over. Alright.
Deal. The British Board of Film Classification reviews movies with a set of criteria, telling parents that there's nudity, violence, injuries, and discrimination. Okay. For Wicked, the section reads, a green-skinned woman is mocked, bullied, and humiliated because of her skin color.
Well, that's true, though. I mean, that would be, you know.
That is the plot, roughly. Like, there's a lot of social elements in Wicked. I have not seen the movie. I have not seen the musical. I know it is a allegory for racism. And that there are a lot of allegories like that. Analogies, all that stuff. However, I have not read the book. I have not watched the movie. I have not watched the musical. I plan to at some point. Alright, let's continue.
Making fun of someone because, you know, their skin color. So that technically would be.
A disabled woman in a wheelchair is treated in a condescending manner by able-bodied people. Talking animals are persecuted in a fantastical society. Wait until they find out what happens to the disabled woman in the wheelchair. It gets so much worse. Just wait for part 2. It gets so much worse. As you can imagine, people online aren't happy about it, with many using the hashtag Go woke, go broke. Well, this one's not going broke, guys. I hate to.
Yeah, but I mean, it is technically.
Yeah, it's almost like the go woke, go broke catchphrase is a complete lie. It's almost like when companies are targeting the left, it's because a lot of people are at least marginally left-leaning. And you can get more money like that.
You know, I mean, I think it's reaching. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it's reaching. But they're saying that she's mocked and bullied because of her skin tone. That is discrimination. So technically that actually is true. I mean, that does qualify. I don't know what their guidelines are, but if they're supposed to mark discrimination, she is bullied and discriminated against because of her skin tone.
I guess this kind of reminds
that is true.
Was it Common Sense Media, where you go through and they rate like every little thing? Like even if the movie's like PG or PG-13, you know, some PG-13 movies are superhero movies, and other PG-13 movies are horror movies that are just a step removed from being an R-rated movie.
They are just kind of yapping. I do want to touch on the little bouncing animation. I don't know why they're just having them bounce Why not have them bounce only when one of them is speaking? Like, say this guy is speaking, his avatar would bounce up. Hang on. Someone wanted to say hi. Oh, look at him. Yeah, you wanna go down now? Okay, I put you down. Alright, bye, babies. He wants attention. And more food. Okay. Let's get back into it.
Are horror movies that are just a step removed from being an R-rated movie. You know, one boob or one F-bomb from being an R-rated movie or too much gore or whatever. They have a trigger warning because she's green.
Yes. I mean, when they explain.
They have a trigger warning because it is an allegory for racism. And a lot of people don't like watching movies that depict racism. A lot of people cannot handle that. That is the point of trigger warnings. I'm just going to use an example. Say you have a World War II veteran, right? And he is disturbed by loud noises because it reminds him of gunfire. And he can go into a blind rage just because it sets him off. That is an extreme case of what trigger warnings are made for. It is to help people know what is in the movie or a TV show or what have you.
It that way, it makes sense, but it's still like, but she's not. It's because I guess they're saying it's a stand-in for, you know,
Well,
it's a stand-in for whatever race or whatever,
Yeah,
you know.
but that was the point of the whole play originally.
Right. So then technically, if that's the case, then saying that is there's discrimination on screen is true.
They basically push her to become wicked, and she probably wouldn't have been wicked if they didn't treat her like shit.
Right.
You know, constantly treat her like shit.
Right. So I'm like, they're not incorrect. I mean, do I think it's going a little far? I think it's a little ridiculous, but if they're supposed to rate this and they have a system and they're supposed to mention discrimination, technically.
So, this is my main problem with Clownfish TV. They mix a small grain of truth. This is my problem with right-leaning channels in general. They will mix a small grain of truth and twist it into a lie. But it still has that small little grain of truth in the core. Yeah, there is an allegory for racism in Wicked. But they use that little grain of truth to make a 13-minute video complaining about a trigger warning. Let's continue.
Technically, it is. So, you know.
Piers Morgan took to Instagram to ask the woke brigade to fuck off with this nonsense. They said, in America, it's worth noting,
Piers Morgan is an idiot. I'm just gonna say that right now. I will cover him eventually. Probably tomorrow. Actually. Maybe. Who knows? Probably. But Piers Morgan is an idiot. On a lot of things.
In America, the film was not preceded by a trigger warning. It's unclear if it does in the UK, though it seems to be more like an auxiliary resource for people rather than something the studio.
Yeah, I don't think they actually have it in front of the movie. I mean, I could be wrong.
Some movies do have trigger warnings in the US. This, I don't know if Wicked has one for the US. But yeah, a lot of movies will have a content suggestion, like, yeah, here's what's in the movie. This movie contains violence and gore of some kind, for example. They also do that for video games, like mild cartoon violence. Alright.
Wrong if you're from the UK, tell us, but I don't think it's actually in front of the movie.
Yeah, I said Wicked's always had themes of racial discrimination. Elphaba has green skin, but it's a metaphor. So yeah, so I mean, basically, she becomes Wicked because she's treated like shit for a variety of reasons. I said, yeah, the Wicked warning might be woke, but the flick ain't going broke. It's on track
It's
to make
not.
242 million. Yeah, I knew it was gonna be big
It's
because
already made. It's already. I mean,
Yeah, it's almost like the go woke, go broke narrative is based on a lie and a fundamental misunderstanding on how capitalism works. People like this will say that investor firms like Sweet Baby Inc. are woke and communist when they are some of the most capitalistic organizations out there. Sweet Baby Inc. is an investor firm. That is capitalism. Investor firms are capitalism. People like this they don't care. They really don't.
it hasn't made quite the. I think it had a 150 million budget, and it's made, 100 million more than that. So it still has a little bit to go to break even, but it's going to hit it. It's not going to be a problem.
Wicked's. Well, this is the Guardian admitting it's silly. Wicked's
It is silly,
green
but-
skin trigger warning feels silly, but not as silly.
Alright. The Guardian, bias and credibility. Left of center. Factual reporting mixed. Alright. I do actually. Wait. Hold on. Alright, I pulled up the Guardian article. Let's read it, actually. Alright. Oh, okay. Wicked's green skin trigger warning may feel silly, but not as silly as those crying woke. Okay. As BBFC's Wicked warning leaves usual suspects with green with anger as polite notice on a website really worth frothing about. Okay. Wicked has faced more than its fair share of controversies since it was first announced, from the uproar over recasting the play's leads to a fan-made poster going viral for the wrong reasons, to the debate of people singing along to it in cinemas and ruining it for everyone. As such, Wicked does not wish to cause any more upset, which is why it has gone out of its way to cut any new controversy off at the pass. Exhibit A. The BBFC has slapped a warning on the film, alerting viewers that it features scenes of discrimination against those with green skin. The BBFC website states that seeing beloved characters being mistreated, especially when Elphaba's skin color is used to demonize her as the Wicked Witch, may be upsetting and poignant for some audiences. Alright, I'm covering this article because I know they will misrepresent it. I want this documented. I want a video out there where someone goes over the article. And I want to hold them accountable. They won't see this, but I hope someone will. Alright? And this is an important warning. Perhaps you find you yourself happen to be a green-skinned witch who has been wrongly demonized by the population of a magical land, and seeing this scene without advice word would have given you PTSD. Or perhaps you have the rare genetic disorder uh, oh, hyperbili. I don't know how to pronounce that word, which turns your skin and urine green, and you wanted to go and see Wicked purely as an act of solidarity. I'm pretty sure that this part right here is a joke. This part's a wait. Pretty sure this part is a joke. Alright. I might be wrong about that. Purely as an act of solidarity with what you assume to be a fellow sufferer, it would be extremely upsetting in this instance to then see people be mean to her, or maybe you're a frog, I don't know. Either way, it's a good thing that the BBFC has taken this step in order to... Yeah, I'm pretty sure this entire thing is a joke. This entire... Obviously, this hasn't gone down well in all quarters since the BBFC's justification effectively amounts to a trigger warning. The move has been a red flag to the sort of public spokespeople who like to sputter and guff about everything being too woke these days. Talking to the Daily Mail, sociology professor Frank Ferretti sneered, "Green-skinned people under attack, you cannot make it up. It is evident that authors of these silly classifications are living on the planet bonkers." How much? Okay. He has a point. Nothing makes me angrier than seeing organizations like the BBFC pander to people with green... Yeah, this is a joke, right? Right here and here. They're making a lot of jokes. Alright. For too long, these green-skinned assholes have been getting away with coming over here, taking our non-witch jobs, and having relations with our non-witch wives. There's nothing that we right-minded, non-green citizens want more than a film about loads of people being arbitrarily horrible to someone with green skin. And we could really do without those snowflakes at the BBFC coddling us by assuming that we might find it upsetting. Quite frankly, more films should contain targeted abuse at green-skinned people. Yeah, this is a joke. This part is a joke. There should be a scene in Gladiator 2 where a Roman pushes a green-skinned witch under a charging rhinoceros, or a bit in Paddington in Peru, where Paddington Bear gestures at some green-skinned people in the background and mutters the word twats at them. Yeah, this is a joke. From here to here is a joke. I think it's the continuation of this joke. They're making fun of right-wing people. They're making fun of people like Clownfish TV. The crazy thing is that the BBFC doesn't even stop there, going on to provide us with a trigger warning about a scene where a talking goat is vilified. Now we can't even enjoy scenes of cruelty to talking animals. What is the world coming to? Oh, sure, there will be some who claim that this sort of thing is literally the BBFC's job, won 8 platforms for most major releases, and all the post was doing was highlighting these sort of complex discussions about content and subtext that go into awarding a film with a classification. Indeed, some people might even argue that Alphabet's skin color is an allegory for any form of racism. In fact, an allegory that, if anything, is a little too heavy-handed, and that the organization had a moral duty to explain that these depictions of racist abuse are what landed Wicked with a PG certification rather than a U or a G, I think would be for the US. But that would be political correctness gone mad, wouldn't it? We shouldn't have to put up with trigger warnings, even on films that have been heavily marketed for children, despite being based on revisionist novels that contain several scenes set in BDSM clubs. Children need to learn that racism and animal abuse happens every day. They should be subjected to depictions of this without warning, especially if they're 5 years old and just want to watch a nice fairy tale movie with lots of lovely songs in it. In short, you cannot traumatize a child enough, and that's why it's clear that the real villain of this story is a polite little notice that someone put up on the website. How dare they? How dare they indeed? How dare they? How could they? How could they put up a little notice on a website, on their website? It is absolutely asinine, preposterous. It is, dare I say, woke. Okay.
Is those crying woke?
Yeah, it is. I agree. I think it's silly, but I also am like, if that is their job to determine what that falls into those categories, this technically would. So they aren't wrong, but I don't think they're putting it in front of the movie for real, are they? I don't think they are.
No, it's on the site.
Okay, that's not the same thing. I mean, I'm not putting it in front of the movie saying this could trigger you.
Yeah, so they're like, I mean, there's a lot. Okay, so there's a whole lot of things to unpack here. So
oh, great. Okay.
Does it seem excessive and silly? Yes. Do they do this with other movies? Like I said, with Common Sense Media? Yeah, they do. Every movie, they nitpick everything. Like things I wouldn't have even thought of. Like they have a rating for, and this is in the US, the Common Sense Media, but they have like, it's got overt commercialism messages or whatever, you know what I'm saying? They have kids rate movies or whatever that they've seen.
I mean, yeah, it's almost like the standards for movies are set by, I don't know if they're professionals, but they are people who have a closer eye on things. I don't know if you could be a professional movie reviewer. Probably could, honestly. I mean, look at CinemaSins or Film Theory, for example.
Which is good that, kids kind of give their feedback. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of a duh, and it's probably just some organization trying to justify their existence.
Of course, if you look down here, you have their little website, because they have to shove an ad in your face every 5 seconds. Go to our website. Like, subscribe, comment. I just did a call to action there.
Existence.
Most likely.
And it's bouncing.
And weirdly, what would be weird about it?
It's bouncing. You can see it.
Like if Wicked actually deals with racism more than Song of the South.
I
would like to stack these two movies against each other and see what, like which one has more overt themes of racism, but yeah, so it does seem silly. It seems excessive. It's not, I don't think it's on the level of, I mean, everybody's talking about it, but it's on the level of Disney slapping the trigger warnings on their old movies. Where they can't accept, like, hey, this movie was made in 1940 something, and yeah, it's going to be a movie that was made.
You notice how they did that little scroll? Wait, hold on. They did a little. Yeah, right here. They did a little scroll. Right?
But yeah, so it does seem silly. It seems excessive.
There! They're scrolling. Are they going to read the article? Let's find out, shall we?
It's not, I don't think it's on the level of, I mean, everybody's talking about it, but it's on the level of Disney slapping the trigger warnings on their old movies. Where they can't accept, like, hey, this movie was made in 1940 something, and yeah, it's going to be a movie that was made in 1940 something. Freaking deal with it. Yeah, even the kids are smoking in the movie. Okay, everybody smoked. Deal with it. They said it's an important warning, though, according to The Guardian. Perhaps you yourself happen to be a green-skinned witch who's been wrongly demonized.
They didn't read this part of the article. They just skipped to this point. They didn't read part of the article. This is the same types of people who advocated for ethics in journalism with Gamergate in 2016. And yet they can't read, what is that, few sentences? Few sentences, I want to say.
As by the population of a magical land, and seeing the scene without advance word would have given you PTSD. Or perhaps you have a rare genetic disorder, which turns your skin and urine green, and you want to go see Wicked purely as an act of solidarity.
Wow, that's very, very... What did you go look up somebody who had green skin to find an example?
I'm sure. It would be extremely upsetting in this instance than to see some people be mean to her. Maybe you're a frog. I don't know. Either way, it's a good thing that the BBFC has taken this important step. Yeah, actually, The Guardian is saying it's kind of ridiculous.
It is a little bit far. But I mean, if they're told...
They are making fun of you. They are making fun of people like you, clownfish. That's what they're doing. They're making fun of y'all. They are legitimately laughing. They're pointing and laughing at you. And you don't see it. You can't see it, or you refuse to see it. You are either lying to yourself, or to your audience, or if you genuinely believe this, I don't know what to say, actually. I was gonna say something, but I decided against that.
Told to find these things, and that's what they have to grade things by, you technically would have to count that as discrimination, even if it's stupid. I'm just saying.
How did I get through a single video of this? This is literally insufferable. I hate this.
Yeah, so I think the reaction to it, and we're just talking about because everybody else is talking about it, right? This is my first look at it, and I'm like, I think there's massive overreaction.
I think it's overreaction too.
Because it's not like they're flashing it on the screen before you go see the movie.
Yeah.
It's not that, and like you said, it's probably to justify their existence. They're going through and nitpicking.
Oh, there's the website again. Look at that. Look at that. There's the website again. And the little subscribe button there. Wow. These people are desperate for money. They are. I don't get paid by YouTube yet. I will tell you when I do. I will. Make a big announcement. And then, even then, I won't be as shameless as these people are. Alright, let's continue. At least they're lightly tickling the article.
I think
every
that
little
yeah,
damn
you have
thing
a
with it. Yeah.
criteria. You have that you're
Kids
required.
are in danger. They point
know,
guns at kids. They
You have to write this stuff down. Is it
Right,
discrimination?
right.
Technically, yes. So technically, they have to write it down. But I don't think they're not. If they're not running it to have the movie and stuff, then I don't think I think it's silly, but I don't think it's.
Somebody found the website. They found it. They flipped the hell out because they're like, oh my god. But
It's not harmful. That's the thing. I would argue it's reducing harm to an extent. It might be a minuscule extent, but it is an extent. And also, it's in a back website. Like, you have to go on the internet and search for this if you want to find it. Like they said, it's not flashing. Excuse me. It is not flashing at the. Tired. Sorry. It is not flashing at the beginning of the movie.
But again, the theme of the whole thing is persecution, being persecuted, being different.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, some people it probably will hit them, even though she's green. Might be like, well, I've dealt with this too.
That's just it. It goes back to that whole, you can identify with people who don't look like you.
Right.
That the Hollywood keeps trying to tell you that you only can identify people who look like you, but that's not true.
They aren't. That's the thing. Hollywood isn't saying that. They are just adding more representation. They are adding more people of color, more people with different sexualities, more genders. Because it's nice having people who do represent you on a more surface level that you can more easily put yourself in their shoes. Like, yeah, I've gone through this. I understand what it's like to be bullied for being bi, for example. I understand what it's like to be bullied for being trans. Representation is important.
Like, I think everybody can relate at least some point to some, being picked on for something. You know what I mean? So I think she's a very relatable character in that regard.
They are scrolling without reading it. Are they just scrolling and reading ahead so that they cover, like, they know what they're reading? Maybe. Let's find out. My bet is that they're scrolling so they can twist the words of the article that's making fun of people like this and find a way to say, hey, look at this left-leaning article, like, look at this left-leaning organization. They support us. Why don't you? Alright. Shit. Alright, wait. I think it was here.
Now we can't even enjoy scenes of cruelty to talking animals.
So at late, you only can identify people who look like you, being picked on for something. You know what I mean? So I think she's a very relatable character in that regard.
Well, it's interesting.
Something, you know what I mean? Everybody can relate at least some point to some, being picked on for something. You know what I mean? So I think she's a very relatable character in that regard.
Well, it's interesting though, because the Guardian rips this thing to shreds, but they're actually ripping people who are getting upset about it to shreds. But so it gets crazier. So the BBFC doesn't even stop there, going on to
they are making fun of people like you. Wow, you're realizing it. You're understanding the bare fucking minimum.
To provide us with a trigger warning about a scene where a talking goat is vilified. Now we can't even enjoy scenes of cruelty to talking animals. What's the world coming to?
It was a talking goat?
Yeah, apparently it's a talking goat.
And what do they do to it?
Vilify it.
Okay, what is that? I don't know what that means. No, I like this part. They're talking about There's nothing that we right-minded, non-green citizens want more than a film about loads of people trying or being arbitrarily horrible to someone with green skin, and we really could do without the snowflakes at the BBFC coddling us by assuming that we might find it upsetting. Quite frankly, more films should contain targeted abuse at green-skinned people. There should be a scene in Gladiator 2 where Rowan pushes a green-skinned witch under a charging rhinoceros, or a bit in Paddington in Peru where Paddington Bear gestures at some green-skinned people in the background and mutters the word twats at them. Oh, that's funny. Sorry.
Yeah.
Look, I think that there's a department that is their job to monitor and write this. And by technically, it's discrimination. So yes, they're right to say that it contains that. I think a trigger warning is a bit much for this.
Alright. Let's resume here.
But it's not being put ahead of the movie, at least not to my knowledge. So in that regard, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think people are blowing it out of proportion, but it's also laughably stupid.
Yeah,
at the same time.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, somebody got paid to do this, right?
It's their job.
So yeah, look, the movie's making money. It's the highest grossing movie of all time based on a Broadway musical. It did better
There is so much going on here. Wait, look.
than Cats.
There's like
Yeah, it doesn't take much. I think people understand.
There's like these lines and they're sparkling. There's too much going on. I keep focusing on this part right here.
And that it's supposed to be discrimination. They get that. They get that. They're smart enough to understand that you happen to spell it out.
Yeah, and they got a sequel coming. It's going to make buckets of money, right? I knew it was going to make money. I didn't know how much it was going to make. I'm still not sold.
Technically not a sequel. It is Act 2. It's based on a musical. They've separated it into 2 acts. Although Act 1 is as long as the musical, so they've doubled the length. Instead of just releasing it all as one. But that's capitalism for you. They want to scrape in more money. Just like these people! They want to pinch every single cent from you. Isn't capitalism just wonderful?
Sold on $1 billion, but Wicked I know is popular. I mean, it was popular enough that I'm not a Broadway guy, but I knew Idina Menzel came from Wicked, and I knew the poster. And I knew the gist of it, which is, oh, the Wicked Witch. This is why she's wicked. Cause...
My daughter didn't know the book had stuff in it.
Oh, yeah.
And we were at the bookstore the other day. She picked up the book. And
the book is very much different from the musical in various different ways. It is more raunchy than the musical, actually. I have not read the book. I know a very surface level understanding of it. I know it's a lot more raunchy. I know the reason Elphaba has green skin in the book is because of a date assault drug, and she was conceived while the mom was under the influence of that drug, I'm pretty sure. And that's why her skin is green, which further adds to the persecution of Elphaba in the book. Alright, it's almost done. Yay. I can go to bed. I can stop watching these 2 dumb fucks.
And I was like, oh, I thought she was kidding. And I started laughing. I'm like, yeah. And then later on, she was telling me about some of the things she found out that were in the book. And I'm like, oh, I thought you knew. I thought that's why you picked up the book and joked about it. She's like, no, I didn't find out this stuff out till later. And I'm like, yeah, that's why I was laughing when you picked the book up. And I was like, I thought you were kidding.
Yeah, the book is pretty raunchy. It's funny, though, because they put the movie poster on the cover of the book to sell, like they do when they bring in, an adaptation out. And people are like, oh my God, parents are going to pick this book up for their kids, and they're not going to realize how raunchy the original...
That's what my daughter was saying.
The original book was. It's like, damn.
My daughter was saying that.
Are they not married? Or does she have a daughter from a previous relationship? I don't know. I personally don't know. Alright, it's almost done.
She said she told me that was what we were talking about when you said that.
Yeah.
They put the movie poster on the book and
Yeah.
people are buying it for the kids and they're like, what is this?
Yep.
And I'm like, yeah. And I thought she knew. That's why I was laughing. Because one she picked up had the original cover, not the movie poster.
Yeah.
And she was like laughing about it. And I thought she was like, no, she didn't know. And then I was like, she found out later.
Oh boy.
And I was like, I knew that. I thought that's what you were joking about. No.
So we're going to wrap this up.
Yes.
There we go, guys. Trigger warning,
Alright. I guess we're done here. Alright. Like, subscribe, comment. Do all that fun stuff. And follow me on my socials, all linked in the link tree down below. And I'll see y'all next time. Goodbye.